Welcome back to another project. In this project, we are going to create a dark mode toggle. As you can see from the final version of the project, we have a toggle button here. And as we switch it on, we go to dark mode. And if we switch back, we go back to the light mode. Also, we see a very beautiful animation, a sliding mode. We are going to learn keyframe CSS query to create such a beautiful animations. Also, we're going to use JavaScript to change the background color when we're switching on and off. Also, we are going to save these modes inside the local storage of the browser. So in the dark mode, when we refresh the page, you can see still the browser is in dark mode. And if we switch it back to light mode and refresh the page, we still have the light mode. So the user can see always the same mode when they come back to our website later. In the next section, we're going to start with the HTML part of our project. So see you in the next section. All right, let's start our project. First, we open the Visual Studio Code. We close the Get Started tab, and in the File menu, we click on Open Folder. I would like to create the project in my desktop, but you can create it anywhere you like in your computer. So here we click on Desktop, and here we click on the New Folder button to create a new folder. We name the folder Dark Mode Toggle, which is the name of our project. We press Enter, and we click here to select the folder. We close the Get Started tab again, and on the left side in the Explorer section, we right-click and we click on New File to create an HTML file. We name the file index.html, and we press Enter. As you can see now, on the right side, we have our index.html file. We can use an exclamation mark to have an HTML5 boilerplate. So we write an exclamation mark and we choose the first auto suggestion. We can use Alt-Z to turn on the word wrap so we can see the codes clearly. As you can see now we have a doc type which tells the browser which version of HTML the page is written in. In our case, because we are using HTML5, we just need to have HTML here. Then we have an HTML tag which covers the head and the body tags. The lang attribute here sets the language of the page. And as we are using English, we just write EN here. Then we have the head tag, which has 3 meta tags, as well as a title tag. The charset attribute defines the HTML character encoding, and UTF-8 is recommended by HTML5 for all web developers because it nearly covers all characters and symbols, and the user who is seeing our website won't have any problem reading the characters or symbols. Then we have this meta tag which tells the Internet Explorer browser to use the most recent rendering engine, which is Edge. This meta tag, the viewport meta tag, tells the browser on how to resize the page. The first part, this part, tells the browser to set the width of the page to the device's screen. So when someone is seeing our website inside a mobile, the width of the screen will be the same size of the mobile and will be smaller when someone is using a computer screen. Then we have here the initial zoom level of the page, which in our case is 100%. Then we have the title tag, which sets the title of the page. In order to see the browser inside the Visual Studio Code, we can use the Live Preview extension. So we right-click here, and we click on Live Preview, Show Preview. Now we have the browser on the right side with the title Document. We can close this Explorer section so we can have more space for coding and seeing the browser. Let's change the title to be the same as the name of our folder, which is Dark Mode Toggle. You can see it here as well inside the title bar. Then in the body section, we set an input with a type of checkbox. We don't need any name for it. The ID will be dark mode, and we have a class of input as well. So we can style it inside the CSS using this class. After this, we have a label for this input, and because the ID is dark mode, so it should be for dark mode. Then this label has a class of label as well. And inside this label, we have a div with a class of circle. Actually, this circle is an empty circle, so we're going to design it later using CSS. So when we click on the button, we see a circle is moving to the right and vice versa. That's it for the HTML part. In the next section, we're going to start styling our toggle button using CSS. So see you in the next section. All right, in the last section, we have finished the HTML part of our project. We added an input with a class of checkbox, as you can see in the browser. We added a label, and inside the label, we added a div with a class of circle. In this section, we are going to start using CSS for styling our project. First, we need to create a CSS file. So here, we open the Explorer section using Ctrl-Shift-E, or you can use View and click on the Explorer. I use just the shortcut, Ctrl-Shift-E. So on the left side, in the Explorer section, we right-click and we click on New File to create a CSS file. We name the file style.css and we press Enter. Before using CSS in our project, we need to add a link to the CSS file within the HTML code. So we go back to the index.html and just under the title tag and at the end of the head tag, we add a link tag. We just write link and we click on the third auto suggestion, the one with the CSS. Now we can use CSS in our project as we have a link tag with a relationship between the HTML code and the external style sheet, which is style.css, and the href attribute defines the destination of the link, and as index.html and style.css are located at the same directory, we just need to have style.css without any path. So we save the file and we go back to the style.css to start styling our project. First, we style this label with a class of label, so we can see it and starting doing something. So we just say label, because it's a class, we need to add a dot here, and we open a set of curly braces. We just give it a width of 80 pixels and height of 40 pixels. We cannot see it yet because the color is white, so let's change its background color to light gray, and can't see it yet. Yeah, everything looks fine. Let's check this label, and this is label 2. Yeah, let's position this one absolute. So because we put it inside this inside body, in order to give it to width and height, we need to have a absolute positioning. So now we can see the label here, and let's change the border. Let's add some border to it to make it round. So we add border radius, just say half of this 40 pixels. So we get a completely round on the corners. So we get 20 pixels, you can see. Let's make this checkbox invisible by just targeting targeting this class of inputs. So here we target the class of input and we just say visibility hidden. Here we choose the second auto suggestion. And let's bring this one to the middle by styling the body section. So we just write body. We remove the margin in the body, default margin. We just say margin 0. We connect them to the top, and we just change the display to flex. And then by changing the display to flex, we can bring it to the center horizontally using justify content center. And we can set the height to be 100% of the viewport height, and using align item center to bring it to the middle horizontally. Vertically. So everything looks fine. Let's do this there with the class of circle. Let's style it. We just say circle. We just give it a width of 34 pixels. Let's change the background color to see it. We just say red. And we give it a height of 34 pixels as well. We can see it here. And let's make it rounded by using border radius 50%. And we set it to top to be 3 pixels, but we should set the position to be absolute. Now, the reason we choose the width and height to be 34 pixels is because we have 40 pixels for the height of the label. If we subtract 40 minus 34, we have 6 pixels left, and we have 3 pixels at the top and 3 pixels at the bottom. So we keep the circles exactly in the middle. We also need to bring it from the left 3 pixels. So we now have the circle exactly in the middle. Now we can change the color to white. So we have a beautiful toggle now. All right. Now we want to change the color when we click on it. First, we change the cursor to be pointer. So when we hover over the label, we see a pointing hand. And we say, if this input we have is checked. So when it's checked, we want to change the color of the label. Firstly, we just say if something happened, then change the label to be, for example, has a background color of salmon color, or yeah. So when we click on it, we see the changing in the color of the salmon. The next thing is I want this circle to move to the right side when we click on the label. So we need to add an animation to the circle when this one happens. So in order to add an animation, we just need to add a keyframe. So we just say keyframe, and we name the animation, for example, just toggle on, or going from the left side to the right side, just say 0%. And we change the translate X to when it's 0%, we just say 0. And we copy this and we change this one when it's 100% to be at the end, which is as you can see here, we have 80 pixels. We have 80 pixels, but this one has 34 pixels, and we want this to be 3 pixels in this side as well. So we just set 40 pixels here, which is enough. So we turn on Alt-C to see all the code, and we just set this one for the coming back as well, for the off, toggle off. So when we click back, it comes back. And this should be opposite. This one should be 40 pixels, and this one should be 0. So let's add the animation, but adding the condition here, we just say input checked, and the label, inside the label, we have a circle. So we just say darkle.circle. And this circle should have the animation, which is the toggle on. When we toggle on, and the animation duration is 0.4 seconds, and it should be linear and toward forwards. Now we click, we see that this one is moving toward the right side. The reason we use forward, if you delete forward, you see when we click, it goes to the end and comes back to the original place. But when we use forwards, when we click, the circles goes and stays at the end. But we want this animation when we click in this position, when we click, we want this circle to go back. So we just add the animation in the circle. This is a slide off. The toggle off. Yeah, toggle off, 0.4 second, and linear, and also forward. So we have now the cool animation. The next things we're going to do is to add JavaScript. So when we click on this mode, we see a dark mode in the body section, and also we want to save this mode inside the local storage of the browser. So when someone comes to our browser one time and turn on the dark mode, each time he comes back to the website, see our website in dark mode. So see you in the next. All right, in the last section, we have finished with the styling our project using CSS. We made a cool animation for our toggle bar. And in this section, we're going to add functionality to our project using JavaScript. We're going to change the background color of the body to the dark mode when we toggle on, and we change it back to the white or daytime mode when we toggle off. Also, we're gonna save this mode inside the local storage. So when a user comes to our website several times, always see the same dark mode in our website. So first we need to create a JavaScript file. So on the left side in the Explorer section, we right click and we click on New File to create a JavaScript file. We name the file index.js. We bring this in this window, and as you may know, before using JavaScript, we need to add a link to the JavaScript file within the HTML code. So we go back to the index.html, and just at the end of the body tag, we add a script tag. So we write SC and we click on the second auto suggestion, the one with the src. As both files, index.html and index.js are located at the same directory, we just need to write index.js for the URL. Now we can use JavaScript in our project. First things we need to bring to our JavaScript file is this input. So we want to know this input is checked or not. So it has a class of input, and for returning an element with a class, we can use a query selector method. So here inside the JavaScript file, we create a constant and we just say input element, and we just inside document we add a query selector method, and inside a set of parentheses we just write dot input, so we get the input. We can use Alt-C to turn on the word wrap so we can see the code clearly. If we console log now the input element, we just say input element, and we open the console using this hamburger icon and open DevTools pane, and inside console we get the input, which is checkbox. If we check if this input is in the check mode or not, we can just add dot checked, and as you can see, as default is false. If we refresh the page, we see that always it's false. All right, when it's in the false mode, we want this body to be in the white mode, and when it's true, we want it to be dark. So we add a function here. We just say function and update, for example, body. And we just say if the input dot checked is true, so this is true, then we want to change the body element. We haven't imported the body in our JavaScript yet, because the body is only a tag, which we can use query selector as well. We just say const body element, we add a document dot query selector, and inside a set of parentheses we just write body. All right, so we set the body, we change the body, the background color of the body by using a style method, and dot just say background, and we set it to be, if it's checked, we want it to be black, and if not, we want this body element dot the style dot background to be white. All right, so now the check is false, but if we change this input, we just say input dot checked equal to true. So, and we call this function, we just say update body. You see the background color of our body became black. And if we change this true to false, we get the white color. And also, we can add an event listener, the change event listener to this toggle mode. So when we toggle on, we update the body based on this checking status. So here we bring this toggle. The toggle class is this one, the label, the input. Yeah, we already returned the input. So we add a event listener to the input. Just the input element dot add event listener. The event we want to check is just the input, and we're gonna trigger a function when the input change from false to true or true to false. The only things we need to do is just update the body. We call this function here. So when we turn on, you see we go to the dark mode, and when we turn it off, we go to the day mode or light mode. All right. So let's add some transition to the body so we can see this one more beautiful. So we just say transition 0.4 seconds. So when we turn on, we see a transition in the color. The next things I would like to do is to add this turn on and turn off mode to the local storage and save this true or false. So when we turn on, when someone comes to our website for the second time, based on his previous setting, he see our website. So we just need to update we make a function, we call it update local storage. We just need to save, we just use local storage dot set item method, and the item we want to save, we just call it mode, and we need to save this input dot check as a string, because in local storage you cannot save the Boolean things like true or false. So we just use JSON.stringify method. I don't know what happened. A string. Yes, sorry. JSON should be capitalized. .stringify method, and the things we want to stringify is this input element dot checked. So here we write input element dot checked. So if inside the web developer tools and inside the application, and we go to the local storage and we choose our website. So when we click on this one, so we need to call this function too. So inside the add event listener, after updating the body, we need to update the local storage too. So when we click on this button, we see that we have a key here with the name of mode, and the value is true. When we turn it off, it becomes false. So when we put it in true, and when we refresh the page, this one stays true, but we have to call it at the top. Instead of just saying input element that check false, we need to call the local storage. So we just say local storage dot get item instead of set item, and the item we want to get is mode. All right, true. But this one is in the is a string. We want to change it back to the Boolean, so we need to use JSON.parse to return the JSON from first we use the stringify to turn it to string. Now we need to use parse to bring it back. So now, as you can see, the mode is false. We can turn it on to true, and someone comes to our website again and refresh the page, they still see our website in the dark mode, as you can see here. Let's install this button in a better way. So instead of using salmon color, let's use the white color in the dark mode, and let's change the circle, the color of circle, the background color of circle to black in the dark mode. So now we see a more beautiful button in the dark mode and in the light mode. That was it for our project. I hope you enjoyed and learned many things. See you in the next project.